As well as the standard fair use policy, these videos are protected under the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787.
Moors are awake. We are taking our place on this planet.
Islam Moors.
My nationality is Moorish.
That was my goal, to get to the basement, however, on my way to the basement, there was a barrage of bullets just coming from everywhere.
Breaking news coverage continuing tonight at 6 here on KDKA. An active shooter situation turned into an hours-long standoff, and it just ended within the past hour with the suspect's death. Hundreds of law enforcement officers rushed to Garfield after a man opened fire on the sheriff's deputies who came to evict him.
Our KDKA News team is still on the ground in that neighborhood, as we have been since this started at about 11 o'clock this morning, gathering all the details from authorities, from neighbors, from those who knew the suspect.
KDKA has been on this minute by minute since this morning, keeping you informed every step of the way.
And right now we're going to start with KDKA lead investigator Andy Sheehan. You've been with us here all day talking to your sources and really key in unraveling a timeline in all of this and a potential motive in terms of what sparked this today with the suspect.
Just an incredible day, an incredible amount of gunfire in a residential neighborhood, and just as miraculous is the fact that the only injury that we know of is a sheriff deputy suffered a cut to his head when he evaded gunfire when initially serving an eviction notice on the suspect in this house. What we know is that sheriff deputies shortly before 11 o'clock this morning came to this house with this eviction notice, tried to talk the suspect out of the house. When that was not successful, they used a battering ram, and when they used that battering ram on the front door, they were met with lethal gunfire. The deputies scrambled for cover, took defensive positions. They exchanged hundreds and hundreds of rounds of gunfire with the suspect, pinned down, were engaged in that gun battle until they were relieved and rescued, in one case, by Pittsburgh SWAT team. During the course of the afternoon, there were several volleys of gunfire between SWAT and this suspect, all initiated by the suspect himself, who, as we just heard from Chief Scarrato, did not avail himself of any opportunity to peacefully surrender himself. The volleys went on for several hours, 2 hours. There was a cessation of that for about 2 hours period. The police believed that he may have been deceased at that point. That was not the case. There was another round of gunfire that came from the house. Police at that point sent a drone into the house where they identified the suspect, where the suspect was. They concentrated their gunfire on the suspect, on that area of the house, and as it turns out, the suspect, we believe, was wounded by that gunfire, and now we have confirmed that he is in fact dead.
I must say, this sounds like something out of a god-darn action movie. Now, what these officers don't know about this subject is that he is a Moorish sovereign citizen, and we'll get into that a bit later. So let's continue on with the news feed.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, Chief Scarrato was asked if they knew at this early juncture if the suspect died perhaps from a self-inflicted gunshot or was shot by police, and the chief said, we believe, I think the word he used was, the suspect was neutralized in the gunfight.
Correct.
So
that's what the chief confirms, and that's what police believe. They were all through this day very cautious, very trying to use time on their side, very patient with this gunman, and asking him to surrender peacefully, and they would never avail themselves.
Yeah,
the suspect who we've seen now is William Hardison. We know that his brother had owned the house. We are efforting to find out the situation with the house. The brother had died. The house transferred into other hands, but Mr. Harrison did not avail himself of that eviction warning that was posted by the sheriffs. Now, in the press conference earlier here, Allegheny County Sheriff Kevin Krause said that they had a pre-meeting before executing this eviction notice at the house. They had some information that this may be an especially volatile situation, but the sheriff says they were not prepared for what they faced.
Okay, so now the pieces of the story are coming together. This guy was being served an eviction, and like I said, what the officers didn't know is that this man suffers from Moorish science. Now these people believe that they don't have to pay mortgages or bills or anything like that, so the house was left to him from his brother, and he clearly stopped paying the mortgage, so therefore the house must have been foreclosed on. And this man, he's a wild guy. Now, you know what? Let's jump into a clip with another altercation that this gentleman had with police on another date.
Flashback.
Oh, nowhere. Y'all ain't got shit to do with me. Fuck out of here. They ain't got no fucking jurisdiction over us. We're Moors, and they know what this flag means. They know what this means.
Yeah.
Oh, they know what this means. They ain't dumb. They ain't dumb. They know this right to throw. They swore an oath on this. They took an oath on this. Yeah, they took an oath on this.
This joint's crazy.
No, they swore an oath on this. They know. Y'all want to know today?
You don't know today, huh?
Y'all fictitious fake. That's what the U.S. citizens, they fake fictitious. Fake fictitious. That's what y'all want. Y'all got no jurisdiction over us.
Yeah, fuck it.
Sir, they ain't got no jurisdiction. This is our flag. You ain't allowed to know. They can't stop you from doing nothing. They getting ready to get sued. Get out of here. Get your supervisor. Think you is. All this. I ain't none of y'all's jurisdiction. Fuck out of here.
My man going. Pittsburgh, PA. Man threw a flag out this door, though.
I ain't playing this game with people. Y'all ass is going to jail this time, baby.
He hurt.
I'm going to fire oaths on all of y'all. A memorandum. Y'all don't have the oaths and bonds in 1938. The shit's going to get thrown out on that alone. The oaths and bonds in 1938 and the foreign registrations.
See, this is what you need to know. Stuff you need to know, fellas. Ladies.
You need to up the game a little bit.
Stuff you need to know.
Going nowhere. They ain't got no jurisdiction over us. None. They ain't got the status. This ain't their land. This is my land. This is my land. I'm a Moor. I'm allowed to travel this land. They swore an oath to this. This is the oath they swore on. They all know it. Need no license. I'm not under y'all's jurisdiction. I don't have a contract with y'all. There is no contract with y'all. I was just downtown with this same bullshit. Sorry, motherfucker.
You see, I ain't touch him. You see that, right?
Yeah, I'm a Moor. I got every right to travel from here to Timbuktu. They ain't
Timbuktu.
This, oh, they want to be the Jews. They want to be the fake Jews. They know what this means. Oh, you know what this means. How their white this is fake ass.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, we ain't going nowhere, baby. We ain't going nowhere.
We got dogs.
No fucking word. Oh yeah, I know you're gonna lie. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Fuck out of here. I ain't paying this, so don't even give. I'm not taking it. Hey, look here. We don't go for their ordinances. We don't play their bullshit game. Fuck out of here. Play no bullshit game with these fake cops. They're fake and fictitious. Entity, corporation. That's what they stand for. That's why their women love us. Love us.
He hurt.
Nothing. Man, I ain't giving you shit. They ain't gonna do a fucking thing. Motherfuckers ain't gonna do shit. They ain't gonna do a motherfucking thing. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
Man, we got backed up traffic out this bitch. Motherfucker, Pittsburgh PD, Pittsburgh police out this bitch. Like, this shit ain't no joke, dog. My man threw the flag out the fucking whip. Fuck you. This shit funny as hell. Yeah, I'm recording all this because this shit right here is like, whoa. Like, rob out this bitch. Yeah. Motherfucker get educated today because they ain't touched that man. You see that? They ain't touched him. Ain't pulled a pistol or nothing.
I'm not no government employee of theirs. I ain't under none of their fucking jurisdiction. We're Moors. Remember that. We're Moors. We ain't got no fucking jurisdiction over us. And I got Article 6 right here. Look, they go to Peace Treaty. Look, and all they want to know, they go Article 6 right here.
Man, they pulled out all the laws. Oh my God.
They go Article 6. I'm supposed to be set free at liberty, motherfucker. Get the fuck out of here. They go Article 6 right here.
Chain with it.
I'll sue the fuck out of them.
Off
fuck
the
out of here.
chain with it. Oh my goodness. He ain't even playing with him. Like, you see the flag? Dude.
And y'all know it. Because they know it, we just don't know it. We don't know
I know it.
Because they ain't gonna do shit.
Think I don't know it?
Because they go to Big Street. What part of Article 6 and I ain't done shit? No. Oh yeah, good. Yeah, I ain't signing shit. I'm not signing.
He said I ain't signing shit.
No, I'm not signing nothing.
I ain't signing nothing.
I'm not signing nothing.
I'm not signing
I
nothing.
don't have no jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction, none.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Throw it in the tail of my foot. I ain't paying shit. Fuck out of here. I ain't receiving shit. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
They don't even know what the fuck to say. Like, these motherfuckers is lost. They don't even know what to say, dog.
Get your butt. Get the white one. Go get the white shirt. I don't want none of that shit. I'm not taking that. I'm not getting tossing it all. You want fictitious fake motherfucker. I'm not taking none of that shit. But I tell you they ain't gonna do shit. I give a fuck. I ain't got no fuck.
I guess I'll fuck.
I'm gonna travel from here to Timbuktu. You see that? Oh, don't worry. I will.
Oh my God. Dude is killing me. Oh, you ain't know about this? Oh, you tripping.
We got noble rights. You know they going to jail.
Yeah.
Noble rights. Civil rights is for them.
Yeah, you tripping. This real shit. This ain't no bullshit.
Look at what I tell you.
Oh.
Hey, tell me what, man.
I was getting the flag.
No, man, look here.
Safety? He ain't gonna do nothing to me. That man ain't gonna do nothing to me. I'm one of him. You think he gonna do something to me? Get the fuck up out of here. Hey.
Thanks, man. They knew that. They knew that shit. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here.
My man gone on him. Bye-bye, Pittsburgh.
See, everybody needs to.
You got like six cars on this jump for what? Fuck up out of here. Bye-bye. You got like 1,000 cameras out this jump too. Don't even try nothing. Don't even try nothing. Yeah. You got like 6 cars out this jump for what?
For no reason.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So bye-bye. All y'all. Yeah. The fuck on. Fuck on, my man. You swole like hell. Hey, what's that Pittsburgh talk? Swole. I like that. I like that. Swole like hell. Get the fuck out of here.
They're going to just try to find them. They said there was too many cameras. We can't do nothing
Yeah.
here. And they had to try to...
Now, after seeing that last clip, it is clear that this man is suffering from more science. He has no respect for the laws. He believes that he's from Morocco and he's a national and all this other crap. You've seen how he was just acting with the officers in this other clip. So it's actually no surprise what went on when the sheriff tried to serve an eviction. He just lacks respect for any authority because he believes he's a Moorish American national. Now this man, he probably read some Taj Tariq books and listened to Light to Jerry Bay on the internet, and we see that he has just lost it. Now, he probably canceled all corporate contracts, stopped paying the mortgage. So now, the sheriffs come to serve an eviction. And he goes out blazing. This, like I said, this thing that just happened, this is like something straight out of a movie. I can't believe this. This is what Moorish science does to the brain. Moorish science is not conducive to anyone. You see, this is a worst case scenario right here, but Moorish science does not help anyone's life. All it does is ruin lives. So if anyone out there is looking to join this Moorish nonsense, don't do it. It's a possibility that you might wind up like this knucklehead, dead in a blaze of fire over an eviction. This is just madness. He could have killed innocent bystanders and his neighbors, but he wasn't thinking about any of that. He was just thinking that he's above the law and he doesn't have to listen, and now he's dead because of it. Stay away from Moorish science.
And you early on,
We should have them.
We certainly didn't expect this. Certainly there's, factors that go into these types of things. We do. We evaluate, we respond accordingly, but we certainly had no information whatsoever that this individual was this dangerous or that there were firearms in the house.
Although they did go there with a team of 7 deputies.
They did. They were prepared.
In body armor.
In body armor. No, they knew that there was a potential. They didn't have specific information. We had talked earlier in the day from an attorney of the buyers of that house who said that that they knew that he was armed. The sheriff said that they had no information in that regard, but knew that this could be a volatile and potentially violent situation. So ordinarily they would send 2 sheriff deputies to execute an eviction notice like this, but in this case they sent 7, including supervisors in body armor. So there was some anticipation that this might happen.
All right, Andy, your reporting today has been invaluable. Thank you so much. Don't go away just yet, but meantime, we want to switch to Shelley Bortz, one of the first reporters out there on the scene today.
She actually talked to a woman who had to rush to safety inside her own home as those bullets rang out. And Shelley, a lot of people in that neighborhood actually thought it was fireworks.
Yeah, that's correct. In fact, I did too. I was one of the first on the scene, and as I was approaching this corner where we're standing here, I heard what I thought was fireworks, or not what I thought, but that's exactly what it sounded like. I mean, I knew what it was, but when I talked to other people that live near here, that's what they said. They were like, 10:30 in the morning, fireworks, it can't be, and then they realized what it was. But we talked to, her name is Leslie Thompson. She lives directly across the street from where this unfolded, and she was home. She works from home, and she said it was about 10:30 when she heard a barrage of fireworks. And she said, and then she looked out the window and she saw, police at her neighbor's door. She heard screaming, and she knew that something was wrong. And then all of a sudden, she said, bullets started flying. And she describes for us a horrible couple minutes where she's actually dodging bullets, trying to get to her basement door to get to safety. Take a listen to what else she has to say.
No, I called 911 to let them know I was holed up in the basement, and they just told me to stay in the basement until everything was all clear. They reassured me that it was chaotic outside. They had it under control. The perpetrator was not running throughout the neighborhood, because that was my fear. My fear was that he was running throughout the neighborhood, so I was trying to shut my windows so he couldn't get in. So they reassured me that he was contained. and just to stay in the basement until we got the all clear.
Another quick story we heard, there was a gentleman that was visiting his grandparents' grave, which is directly across the street here at Allegheny Cemetery. He said that he was in the cemetery when he heard gunfire. He said he just jumped to the ground and laid face down until he heard a lull in that sound, and then he ran to safety. So those are just a couple of the stories that we've been hearing all day today. Not the ending that anyone anticipated. Of course, no one wanted to hear this, but we're just happy to hear that no one was hurt. Reporting live here in Garfield, back to you guys in the studio.
Shelley, thank you. Yeah, and so many of those stories Shelley was talking about coming from people in the neighborhood who knew that suspect. And meanwhile, loved ones continue to rush to the scene to try and help. Megan Schiller talked with some of them.
Yeah, she joins us now live near the scene in Garfield. Megan.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things that came out of that media briefing is when they said that they didn't even have any successful conversation with this man. I asked, did you make contact? Did you talk? Did you even shout at each other? To which Sheriff Krause said no. As soon as they approached and announced themselves and tried to call him out, that is when they say the gunshots rang out, and they said that they were just taking incoming fire and they had nothing but to run for cover, duck, dive, he said, try to get out of the way, and then eventually returned fire. They also, we asked and we pressed trying to get more answers as to the increase in security measures that they took when it came to serving this eviction notice. There were 7 guys. Usually there are less. They were wearing more armor. And we asked, did you notify the neighbors? Did you alert them that you were serving this eviction notice and you potentially anticipated violence? And they said they couldn't confirm whether or not neighbors had been notified. When we've been out here all day long, we have talked to people who say they have lived in this neighborhood for years, their entire lives. We talked to one man who said he ran for city council unsuccessfully, but he plans to run again because he said he loves this community and he can't even believe that this is what transpired today. Take a listen.
It was a little quieter, but about twice now I've heard continuous rounds of gunfire. I mean, they must have unloaded hundreds, maybe thousands of rounds, so it's a very scary situation. You never picture this going to happen somewhere so close to you. I mean, you hear about this on the news, and it's just kind of a scary situation.
And I also pressed trying to get more details about the deed to this property where the eviction notice was sold. I said, did you have any knowledge about the fact that that was his family home and that he had maybe possibly in the past expressed that he wanted to stay there and did not want to be removed from the home? They said they were unable to provide information as to that at the time, but family members I talked with said they are not surprised that he would be willing to fight in order to stay in the family home. We did confirm that his name was on the deed of the home and what appears to be his deceased brother's name as well, with the grantee being a company that eventually did get the home back in February for $25,000. Back to you.
All right, Megan, and now to our Chris Hoffman. Chris actually started out in one location, ended up in another when police told all the media to move from that initial spot.
Yeah, trying to keep everybody safe. He's standing by now with a different angle on the scene tonight. Chris, tell us where you are and what's been happening on your end.
Well, we're now at the corner of North Mailvale and Kincaid in Garfield. We've been in the area where pretty much people have been coming just to see or hear what's been going on throughout much of the day. We heard the gunfire, we heard explosions, and we've been hearing from people who are just in shock and disbelief this even happened. We talked with a guy, he lives on Broad Street, a few blocks down from where this all happened, but his sister and nephew live right next door to it all. He said as soon as they had heard it, they were wondering what was going on. They started making calls to family and friends, and then eventually they got evacuated and were able to be safe and away from all of this. Other neighbors that were maybe in the 4900 block, one block away from where it's transpired, they thought they heard firecrackers around 11 in the morning. And then they eventually learned that it was gunshots, and they tried to get out of their homes and stay away from this all just because they didn't know how it was going to go down. Now, other people were still just really in shock and disbelief. I know we say it all the time, but this was really just stunning to people to hear like what some claimed sounded like a war zone going in their own neighborhood. Take a listen to one guy now whose nephew and sister live next door.
I was just wishing for their safety. Everything's okay. Seemed like the police got it somewhat handled. I don't know. So just hope it ends soon.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it did end the way it did. But at this point, you have a lot of police just still down in the area of North Millvale as this investigation continues. We haven't seen a lot of urgency like we did earlier in the day. We had officers running around, responding after those bursts of fire, the explosions we had heard. Now it's mainly just kind of like an officer here doing traffic and crowd control. We have some other officers and investigators really focusing in the Broad Street area. But there hasn't been that urgency, much more of a calmed matter at this point. People have pretty much gone back to their homes now, having learned what the conclusion of all this is. Live in Garfield, Chris Hoffman, KDKA TV News.